you guys know what time it is when you hear that intro music. It is Thursday, and you're in the right place, you guys. This is the Locker Room Show. I'm your host, Coach Terrence Wood. We've got the great Q Guru with us, and we have an amazing guest tonight that has a ton of value to bring to the show. So I'm excited. I'm a Bay Area native. This guy was ripping it up, so I want to dive right into it. So Q, a lot's been going on since the last time we talked. What's going on?
Hey man, it's about to be draft time, man. You always like to see this time of year. Man, these guys have been playing this game their whole life, man, to walk across that stage, right? So it's absolutely huge, you know. So we're interested to see, especially that top 10. I'm interested to see who goes where Shador is gonna land, where Travis is gonna land. So it's gonna be interesting, man. Definitely.
All right. So Q's got his mind on the draft, but tonight is about the gentleman that you see in the middle of the screen. Once again, I'm a Bay Area native, so I stayed up watching this guy throw it, spin it in the Pac-10. His senior year, you guys. Co-Offensive Player of the Year in the Pac-10, Los Angeles native, went on to play professionally, NFL, XFL, Arena League like Q and I, and just has a ton of knowledge that he's ready to share tonight, you guys. Still the radio analyst for the Golden Cow Bears, and he gives his time back to the community, public speaker as well. He's got a book coming out. So, hey, let me shut up. This night is about the great Mike Pawlawski. How's it going, Mike?
It's going fantastic. I appreciate you guys having me on tonight. Always great to talk football.
Definitely.
Yes, indeed. So, hey, let's not hold back anymore.
Look at that picture.
You guys, yes, indeed. Let's talk some football with the great Mike Pawlawski. Once again, you guys, you're going to get it straight from somebody. We're not talking armchair quarterback. We're talking somebody that's won championships, Pac-10 ripping it up, and now doing a lot. So let's get into it, Mike. All of our topics are on the bottom ticker. The decision to go from SoCal and bring your game up north to Cal Berkeley, Strawberry Canyon. What was behind that decision? What were a few factors?
Well, there's a couple of them. So I got recruited by Cal. I got recruited by Arizona. I went back to NC State actually for my first trip.
Oh wow!
And then I got recruited by Utah as well. Those are the trips I took. Utah was my fourth trip.
Okay.
And then Iowa came in late. Notre Dame talked to me for a little bit. There was a bunch of other schools around there, but really the four trips that I took. And I liked Arizona, and a really weird event happened when I was in Arizona. Dick Tomey had just taken over as the head coach. Mm-hmm. And so I liked Dick. I mean, I love Dick Tomey. He was fantastic. But on the way back to the airport on my recruiting trip, the coach, who was the offensive coordinator, and I forget his name now, but we were driving to the airport and he T-boned the car. And it was a lady,
wow.
who was a pregnant lady. She was in the car and he did the right thing. He stopped, he helped her out, made sure she was okay. Yeah. But it took hour and a half, 2 hours. Well, I missed my flight. So then he just proceeded to have somebody come out and drop me at the Tucson airport, which back then was a trailer. And I was like, you know what? And I had to wait for 12 hours for the next flight in the Tucson airport. And I had a good trip. I enjoyed the trip. Ronnie Veal actually hosted me on the trip. It was good. And by the end of my trip, I'm like, I am not coming to Arizona because I sat in the airport for 12 hours. Well, I proceeded to have my Cal trip the next weekend. And Mariucci had recruited me. Okay. And so Mooch was an Orange County guy. And he that was his area. He came to my school. He recruited me out of high school. He brought me up there. I met Bruce, great coach. And I loved Cal. And then Terry Shea was the offensive coordinator, quarterbacks coach at that time. So he's a perfect mentor for me. So I loved all of that. But then Bruce came down to close the loop, like to finish this thing off. And he brought a tape. And my senior year, we had played Valencia High School. And Troy High School had not beaten Valencia High School in 19 years. And it was going to be 20 if we didn't win in this game.
Wow.
And so we go back and forth and we ran the wing tee, which was they invented offense about the same time they invented fire. But we were running this thing and it was 7-0. We score with 6 seconds left on the clock to make it 7-6. And my coach, John Turek, who I love, was a great mentor for me in high school, although he ran the antiquated offense. He went for it. He went for two. He said, we're going to win this thing or we're going to lose it. And so we went for 2. We run 35 belly pass. I can still remember it to this day. Actually, I write about it in my book.
Yeah.
And I roll out to the right, and my receiver to the right gets mugged, right? He is absolutely – it is mugging. It's not even holding. It's so bad. And so I'm looking for my tight end on the waggle.
Right.
And he's not there on the waggle
Yeah.
because he gets mugged. The linebackers, they had these 2 dudes who I think ended up being D1s, dude. They both mugged him coming across in the waggle. And so now I got a defensive end coming off the edge. He's wrapping himself around my legs, and I'm trying to pull it down now. Yeah. And then I see my tight end just kind of get a shoulder free, just a hand free. And I throw the high hard ball to him, and he grabs it, one hands it, brings it down. We score 2 points, and we do it. Well, he puts – Bruce Snyder comes into our house, stops everything, and says, I want you to take a look at this. And he puts us in, cues it right up, which, at that time for an adult to work the VCR was impressive to start. But then he hits play, and it's that play. And he goes, you are clutch in the moment. This is the quarterback we're recruiting at Cal. And I'm like, where do I sign?
Right.
Where do I sign right now?
That was it.
But I got, like, right away, the moment I started talking to Bruce, I got his vision for what Cal was going to be. I got his vision for what we could do. And my recruiting class, though it wasn't very highly ranked, we ended up with like 3 or 4 All-Americans, a Pac-10 Offensive Player of the Year. Like it was some phenomenal players. I just talked to Steve Gordon, my center today, Troy Azim, my left tackle, who was runner-up for Rookie of the Year in the NFL, right?
Wow.
There were some dudes in that class who were completely unranked. And I got it right away. I knew we were going to change everything when we came there. And that really spoke to me because I love building greatness. I love building great things. And so being a part of that just spoke to my heart.
Awesome.
Wow, that's special right there. And straight from a quarterback, you got, I feel like I was in the huddle right there. And unfortunately, I don't know if we have classes stick together like that anymore, but we'll come back around to that, Mike. So great story right there. And we're on to our next topic, you guys. And this is a good one for us to talk about because, we're in a day and age where guys are kind of getting put into the fire pretty quickly at the quarterback position, Mike. And you know what it's like to be behind center and have real bullets coming at you. So, with today's day and age and the pressure that these coaches face and how hard it is to get some of these top-notch quarterbacks, talk to me a little bit about development. Are we still in a phase where coaches have time to develop quarterbacks, or is that day and age over?
Well, I tell you what, so I work with quarterbacks locally here in the Bay Area. So the East Bay, I still work with some elite quarterbacks. I got about 20 guys that I work with.
Nice.
And so I've had a couple Bay Area players of the year. I've had guys that set passing records. The thing is, we didn't have that when I was playing. Right. That didn't exist.
Right.
Steve Clarkson had he was the first guy doing it. And that was back then. Nowadays, college coaches have the luxury of not having to develop guys.
Right.
I had to be developed. I came out of a wing tee. I was not ready to play. But they just get these ready-made quarterbacks who can play. And then the offenses in high school have become so much more sophisticated that guys are ready. Now, here's the problem with that. A lot of these guys haven't matured yet, and they're not going to mature until they're 20, 21 years old. And so if you don't like him when he's a freshman and you just pass on him, a lot of times you're missing out on guys. And I see that a lot. I've got a really, really good quarterback who I coached in high school. He's Bay Area Player of the Year. He's a fantastic football player. He's a D1 guy, but he was in that COVID gap. And then he was in the NIL gap and the portal gap. He fell into that space right now. And so he just finished JC. He's got some schools looking at him. This kid should be a D1 player, period. End of discussion. And they missed him. They just missed. And I've talked to several college coaches, and it's so funny because they go through these gaps and they go through these things, and they're just like the NFL. They're always looking for a reason to cut somebody out, to knock somebody out. Yeah. And so no, they don't take the time to develop guys anymore. I'll tell you that firsthand. They expect you to come in as a ready-made product, right? It's like an easy bake oven. He comes in, he works, or he doesn't, and then they move on. If they don't like you, they just go back to the portal and they find the next guy. Yeah. And so that's what a lot of teams are doing because it's easier than developing a quarterback for sure.
Yeah.
Wow. Talk to me, Q. I mean, if I'm a parent at home and I've got an eighth grader that's pretty talented, how big is the high school decision if we think he may be a Division I level quarterback?
Well, I mean, the high school decision is huge. I mean, T, that's why we've always had these conversations a lot of times where that's the reason why you've seen public school programs crumble because, the higher recruit, for the most part, the higher recruited kids, all the horses are going to private schools. They're getting poached from public school districts and having to go to private schools. You hate to see it that, Mike was just explaining, but I can agree with that as well, man. And it's something about that quarterback position because you see a kid and it's like, okay, he has all the raw intangibles, he's a 6'2", 6'3", 215, he has all the physical tools, he goes through his progressions. He doesn't have a hitch in his throw. He doesn't pat the ball. He secures the ball well, all these mechanics, but it's still that mental development, like he said, that doesn't come in until 2021, 22, and might not be there at 18. So like he said, you end up missing on the kid. The good part about it is you love to hear stories like that because kids that you miss on that want it and have heart behind the tools, that's where you see the Bradys come in and they make you pay. When you gotta when you gotta see them, they make you pay.
Yeah, and I'll say this too for you, Q, is that with that new junior college ruling, I think the JUCOs are going to be a huge benefit. Now that's not going to count against your 5 years. That's awesome. And those kids who are young, think about this. Kurt Warner's wearing a yellow jacket now, right?
Yeah.
He came out the year after me. He got cut in the NFL after his first year.
Yeah.
He didn't grow up and become the real quarterback that he was until he played in the Arena League.
There you go. And came out the
played against Kurt
out of Iowa.
Kurt and I played against each other a bunch, right? We had a couple games where we threw like 19 touchdowns in the game.
That's crazy.
Right? And so, but it took that long. And that league was really good at developing quarterbacks. But it took that long for him to develop because that position is so unique. If you don't have the right coach, you don't have the right training, you don't have the right offense, you don't have the right offensive line. Like there's so many things that goes into it. Everything has to be right for you to get to that level.
100%. And then
I think, go ahead.
I think one thing, in the midst of all the tools that we call requirements to be a great quarterback, what I've always looked at is that leadership aspect, right? Mm-hmm. It's that where it's a minute and 37 seconds left. And you look this guy in the face and he's like, God damn it, we're about to punch it in. I don't give a damn, we're 80 yards out. And
everybody knows it.
And everybody believes it. Yeah, everybody believes it. That's what takes time to develop is that leadership. That John Elway type.
How many people missed on Mahomes? I mean, Mahomes didn't go to Ohio State or USC, went to Texas Tech.
True.
So that means everybody could have grabbed him for the most part. And then even in the pros, some organizations passed them up.
But you say the same for Brady, Montana, all those guys, right? They're third-round picks. Brady's a sixth-round pick.
Yeah.
The two greatest ever to play the game. Third-round pick, sixth-round pick. Period.
Absolutely. And so
it's a tough position to evaluate.
It is. It totally is. And think about what you just said. T, in regards to Mahomes. It's like, well, you got to think about it. Man, Cliff Kingsbury's the damn quarterback whisperer.
Yeah.
He is.
Well, in that offense, too.
We played against Cliff. You know that. Like,
I'll give you Cliff, but let's talk about the offense. Mike Leach in the air raid, Hal Mumme. Yeah, that creates some quarterbacks who can do it, right? So if you can sling it and they put you in that system, it simplifies the system for you. And I could go on with Mike Leach stories. He was a really good friend of mine. Yeah. So I could go on. I could go on with Mike Leach stories forever. But it simplifies it, makes the game easier. A high quarterback rating is one of the number one indicators for team success.
Absolutely.
If you can make your quarterback successful, your team's going to be successful. And Mike Leach found he was the alchemist. He found a way to make that easier to do. And so there were some exceptional quarterbacks. And then look at the legacy from him, right, that you keep going down. You talk about Kingsbury and all these guys that are offensive coordinators, head coaches now. So it's pretty amazing what the air raid did.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Good point. Good point, Mike.
So let me ask you this, Mike, because you're a father, you're a trainer, I'll ask you the same thing I asked Q. If I'm an 8th grade dad and I know I got something special, maybe I played a little ball, I got something at quarterback. What should I be looking at when I'm evaluating a high school to send my kid to?
Number one thing, I'd make sure that my kid is getting polished. I would make sure that he's getting coaching, not too young. And unlike all these other youth coaches, I want him to play every sport he wants to play. I think when you talk about leadership,
damn it, Mike, I was waiting on that.
when you talk about leadership, that's where you develop it in all these different sports. You look in the NFL, and all these quarterbacks, we're all multi-sport athletes. Period.
There it is.
Mahomes was a baseball guy. Elway was a baseball guy.
Marino was a baseball guy.
Yeah, Marino was a baseball, exactly. So play every sport, period. Take it easy. The overuse injury comes from single sport exposure. So do it. Get him polished. Get him used to doing the right things as a quarterback. That's really super important. Throwing a baseball is completely different than throwing a football, right? Throwing a football is more like hitting a baseball than it is like throwing a baseball. And so you need to learn the skills to play the position. Then think about where you're going to have the best opportunity for success. Start at offensive line. Start with a coach who's savvy, and start with a coach who has a history of success. It doesn't mean that you have to play at, here in the Bay Area, De La Salle, right? That doesn't necessarily fit great quarterbacks, but you can find schools that do a good job with quarterbacks. There are a bunch of schools in the Bay Area. When Bergman was a coach at Monte Vista, they did a phenomenal job with quarterbacks, right? Akalani's has had a couple of my guys recently. They both just lead the league every single year. All these guys just keep leading the league in passing. So there are schools that do it, that get it done. And so find a coach who's good with quarterbacks, who can mentor quarterbacks, who can develop them here. And I would strongly suggest, if your high school does not have a quarterback coach with some good credentials who can really teach it, then find a quarterback coach who can really teach it, because there is absolutely nothing intuitive about the position of quarterback.
Absolutely.
Wow. Okay,
that's
you guys.
A great point, Mike. I was waiting. I got so excited. I was waiting on you because we keep trying to preach to these parents, coaches, but especially these parents, is allow your kid to breed and be a multi-sport athlete so much. So people don't understand. They're so amazed when they see Mahomes and these guys, and they're throwing from all of these throwing angles and completing these passes. Well, damn it, he's a pitcher, right? And it translates, you know? So allow your kids to do that for sure.
And I'll get into a little, what I talk about in my book. What I work with now with leaders is my physiology crosses with your psychology. In sports, you're training your body to do a bunch of different things. Different sports train your psychology to do a bunch of different things. There's the patience and the fine motor skills of baseball, right? There's the foot coordination playing soccer. I know a lot of football guys don't like soccer. Soccer's great for kids. I played soccer growing up. I was all about soccer, right?
Hey, you was going to fall in love with you.
Hey, he's about to get me started tonight, man.
Right? So all these things train your nervous system how to be an athlete, period. And then they train different aspects of the competitive nature. Yeah. And so I'm all for basketball. I used to play pickup basketball. Man, I rolled so many ankles playing pickup basketball, right? But I was playing it. I was doing it. And I was doing it during football season. So like all these different sports help kids. And so play as many sports as possible. Don't get overuse injuries, right? Be smart about it, but play everything. Like let your kid experience his childhood.
Absolutely.
I love it. Absolutely. And the great George Schramm. What's going on? George says 100%. He's with
That's my dude right there now.
Yeah, yes, indeed. And he says Cal and Monte Vista definitely help train quarterbacks. And the big Ruck, we got Ruck with us saying nice intro. We see you, Ruck. Thank you for joining us as always, baby. And if you haven't already, make sure that you please like, subscribe, and share the Locker Room Show. We want to have the best football community on YouTube. We need your help, baby. So let's get on to our next topic, you guys. And that was, hey, you guys are getting gems tonight, so make sure you run this back. This one I know is coming down your lane, Mike. Obviously, you're Pac-12 through and through. You grew up in the area, and then you came and played for the Cal Bears. And unfortunately, this was our first season in 100 years where we didn't have a full Pacific Coast Conference, and we had the reallocation to the Big Ten and the Big 12 and the ACC. And you're the radio analyst for Cal, so you went on some of those trips. And I wanted to ask you, I'll start off with you, Mike. When you think about this past season, what's a couple big things that stand out in your mind about this weird year?
College football is broken. That's what stands out in my mind. College football is broken. There's a couple things that happened here, and that's one of the men that broke it right there. But it started with the NC2A being a monopoly. They've been able to control what players earned, what players did. We couldn't have jobs. Like, you couldn't even have a job. I couldn't haul trash when I played at Cal. I could not have a job, period. They controlled your life so much. And they said you couldn't use your name, image, and likeness, but they could sell your jersey. They could sell your name. They could sell your image, right? And so it was this monopoly where players were not allowed to take advantage of their worth. And they're creating worth on the field. Plus, they're creating worth for the university. So that's the start. So you knew when it broke, it was going to break wide open, because this whole time there was no agreement in place. There was nothing saving the NC2A. And by the way, for background, I wrote my thesis, or I worked on my thesis, on antitrust versus labor law in professional sports. I represented the players in the Arena Football League in the lawsuit against the owners. So sports law, I have a pretty deep background in sports law.
Wow.
And so this stuff, first off, not having the rights to your likeness was awful, bad move. And so once the NC2A blew up, it blew up. And so now it wasn't supposed to be pay for play, but anything they do to try to restrict a player's right to earn a living, right? Anything they do to restrict free trade is going to be ruled illegal. So now they can't do anything about it. And so it's broken. There should be a Pac-12 conference, a Pacific conference of some kind.
Absolutely.
The networks wanted 4 conferences, right? They wanted 4 regional conferences that they could promote and work together to fight. But the Pac-12 and that guy originally, but then the Pac-12 wasn't very smart about it. When they came out and said, "Oh, we'll offer you $30 million," they're like, "No, we want 50." And they tried to demand, instead of saying, "You know what, let's do this the smart way. Okay, let's do that. Just sweeten the pot so we can say we got a little bit in the negotiation, but we have our own network. Unlike any other conference in the country, have our own network. It's not run by ESPN. It's not run by Fox. We own it."
Facts.
What we're going to do is we're going to create content like crazy. And then you guys, through your network, are going to push the subscription basis. And we'll drive that number up through the roof. We can work subscriptions and TV revenue together. They can play off of each other. They can interact so that we can now drive viewership and all of the rates for people subscribing. And now our teams will be making $100 million in 2 years.
Yeah.
But instead, they said, "We want 50." And that was their negotiating position. And at 50, it makes 0 cents for a network. And so they went, next, we'll move on. And it never became a serious offer anytime after that. That's why they had to go to Apple. But so the people in charge of it, you kind of had sharks in there in the waters dealing with people who weren't business people, right? You had people from universities, more academic minded, trying to deal with real businessmen. And those real businessmen just said, "Yeah, we're not interested. We're moving on." And that was it. They've got product, right? All they need is product to sell, product to play. They need viewers at the game. That's it. And so it would have been great. The Pac-12, you could tell I have an opinion about this, right? The Pac-12, it kills me that the Pac-12 is no more. It drives me insane. And the ACC has been fantastic. These people have been so great, so welcoming, so nice. And I love the ACC, don't get me wrong. But the Pac-12 should still exist.
100%.
And the people in charge of it blew it.
100%.
Oh no, it's a travesty. It's almost borderline criminal. What took place with the Pac-12 and Q. When you sat back this season and you watched USC play Rutgers, when you watched other teams playing, what were a couple thoughts that come to mind for you?
I mean, man, just a travesty, man. And I mean, and how did it? We talked about this all the time, even off there. You and I, how did it affect, recruiting as far as travel? How did the student athletes? How do you deal with that? We're in California, and we gotta, like you said, we gotta go to Jersey. Like it's just, some people, man, with their parents, at least, you're in that same region as you're supposed to be as far as conferences, to even allow, family and friends to be able to see these student athletes play. That's part of you wanting to be on that stage, is seeing you're having your people there to be able to witness it all, right? And that's taking from them as well. So again, I agree with you all. Absolute travesty. I don't know if it'll ever happen, but maybe in the future, somehow the football gods allow it. The Pac-12 will live once again. But that was tragedy, man. It really was, and it didn't have to happen at all.
Wow, that's big, you guys, and I appreciate you sharing that, Mike, because I know how important the Pac-12 was to you, and the Pac-10, the Pacific Coast Conference. So
yeah, I mean, I got my Cal helmet back here, right? All my Pac-12 stuff. It's insane, it's the fact that they let it happen is it's ridiculous, And as a Pac-12 guy through and through, it's really sad for all of us who played in that league. Because that conference was pretty special. There was some.
It was.
And the last year it was arguably the best year ever in the Pac-12. Like, it was so good. The football was so good.
Yeah.
And poof.
Yeah. But, 100%, you guys.
Think about all those legendary Rose Bowl games, man.
Yeah.
Pac-12, hell, Pac-10 versus Big Ten. All those. Think about that, man.
Yeah.
All the way back, the 70s, 80s, 90s. I mean, that's
Well, to Mike's point, that was the best year last year, and then even this year, if the Pac-12 stays together, you've got two Heisman contenders this year, and Dylan and Hunter.
I will say, I think it's funny that the Pac-12 won the Big Ten and the Big 12 this year.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like, it's funny that the Pac-12 won all two different conferences. And so there's that.
When they left. So, we can talk all night, you guys, about that. And I don't know where Larry Scott is, but he may be in hiding for a couple years, you guys.
Wherever he is, he's in luxury, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, he's got some dollars in his pocket. Mike, you got that right. We're on to the next topic. And speaking of somebody with some dollars in their pocket, we got the great Roger Goodell, who's probably at getting ready for a Super Bowl here. And Roger wants to go to 18 games, you guys. He says many of the owners want it. Obviously, the media wants it. And why shouldn't the players want to go to 18 games? So I'll start off with you, Q, on this one, man. How soon do you think this might be a possibility? You think we see 18 games in 2 or 3 years, or do you think NFLPA says, no, we're putting our foot down?
I mean, it's very well possible. I mean, you got to think about it. I know the owners are all for it, because in regards to, the ticket sales with regular season, we want to be able to sell, our $15 hot dogs regular season as many games as we possibly can, right? So again, it's the same thing we just discussed with the Pac-12. Everything's going to always come down to money and who's going to sell out and who's not, right? And the players are always going to bear the blunt of piss poor decisions. That's just how it's gonna go, So I hope that that's not the case. God knows, we, as much as we love this sport, man, it's the gladiator sport of all gladiator sports. So you're already seeing enough wear and tear. And you're talking about 18 games regular season, and we're not even talking about playoffs. Man, you're talking about 21 games, 20 games. That's insanity. How does anyone make it through a season like that? That's impossible.
Yeah, and at that level of play. Right?
And at that level of play.
It's not like you're talking about 18 high school football games. High school football is great. These guys hit. It's awesome. But it ain't nearly as violent as the NFL.
Absolutely not,
the hits that you have in the NFL, you can try to change all the rules and do all that. 18 games, think about all the talk about CTE, a few years back, right? They haven't eliminated the fear of that. These guys are hitting. They're banging heads. They're doing all that stuff. And it's hard on your body, and you can try to keep your body in shape, but it's hard on the body.
Yeah,
so I assume that the NFL will keep going for it. Because think about the paycheck that comes out of that, and not just the filling stadiums. Think about the TV revenue from that.
Yeah,
right. Yeah. That's probably triple what you get for the stadiums, at least on the end of a contract. I was playing in the XFL, and Dick Ebersol gave us a talk, and he said, "Look, we got out of the NFL when it cost $1 billion to do the NFL." That was 2001.
Wow.
Yeah.
What does it cost to do the NFL now, right? And so you add another slate of games, another week of games. You're looking at 15 games, 14 more games that they're going to broadcast.
Yeah.
That's a big number.
That's an insane amount of money. Yeah.
And there's also the international pool where it's another game to maybe fit in an international game, which obviously brings some money and some eyeballs. Tell me this, is there a little contradictory situation, Mike, when we say, I'm going to throw a flag and maybe find this guy for a hit, but I want you to play another game?
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, wear and tear on the body is one thing. They put in these rules, and it's supposed to be for player safety, and I get it. And the NFLPA is looking out for player safety. But yeah, you find a guy, you take his money. See, baseball, people don't know this. In Major League Baseball, the club actually pays the fines. The players don't pay the fines.
Facts.
And so in the NFL, the players pay the fines.
Yeah. That is true.
So,
that's a great point. That is true.
And so they're doing that to fine the players for dirty play. Well, what about throwing an extra game in there? That ain't dirty. Who's going to throw the flag on that? Right. Now, I'm not saying it's not going to happen because money talks in the end. And if they get a better deal out of it, maybe it's a negotiating position. I've been around this sport long enough to understand that everything is a negotiating position, period. No matter what it is, it starts somewhere. So it might happen. But I just think you can only tax the human body so much, no matter how good medicine is, no matter how much you work on the body during the season. You can only tax it so much. I've got 4 replacement discs in my neck from playing this game.
Wow.
So it's,
I'm with you.
There's a lot, man. It's a lot on the body. And so I want to see these guys play free, man. Play solid. Love the game and stay safe. Do those two things. Like honor the game, honor each other, love the game, and don't kill your bodies because you got a long time to live after football.
Absolutely. Well, hell, Mike, I might as well ask you then if that's the case. I mean, with 18 games in the league, and a matter of fact, T, I think I just mentioned this, on our last episode. Well, did they get it right with the college playoffs, or do we add 4 more teams?
Oh, yeah.
How does that right? You see what I mean? How does that work out? Or did we get it right?
Well, we talk about the NIL guys getting paid. Okay, well, sure, Sanders making money now, but what about the offensive lineman who is not, right?
Yeah.
What about those dudes who are making money?
Yeah.
And you're asking them to do this stuff too. More. So I said this a long time ago. These kids should take part. They're the product, and so they should be part of the revenues of the sport. And I get it. Like I love women's sports. I want women's sports to succeed. I love what President Trump just did in terms of making women's sports about women, right? Because they deserve the right to play. They deserve the right to compete at that level. That said, football is a revenue-generating sport, and it's the only revenue-generating sport in college.
Absolutely.
And so the players who are generating that revenue should take part in that revenue, and they need to find a model that works.
Yeah.
Period. Because that lineman who's not getting NIL money right now deserves to get paid for what he's doing. He is every much a part of that, every bit as much a part of that success of that team that drives the TV revenues as the starter, as the star. So they need to find a way to get all those guys money for what they do, right? They need to be paid for what they're doing.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. And they will get a little piece from the settlement that's going to be taking place as we head into the next season, but even more on the NIL side for the work they put in. Speaking of young athletes and being able to play at the college level, and once again, you guys, you're in the locker room show with Coach Wood, Q the Guru, and the great Mike Pawlawski, quarterback, Golden Bears Hall of Famer, you guys, radio analyst, and he's got a book we're going to talk about too, you guys. So we're on to the next topic, and this one, you guys, is in line with the signing day that just took place. We've got young athletes that put pen to paper yesterday for the regular period, and then earlier in December for the early period. And unfortunately, as there always is, there are some guys that have to wait. And I wanted to ask you, Mike, I mean, for an athlete that is a great player. He's done everything he's supposed to do, the extra training. Maybe he's worked with you, but for whatever reason, he hasn't got his just due yet. What would you say to that young man listening?
You have to keep playing until you decide it's time to no longer keep playing. Mm-hmm. And with the new ruling, like I was talking about for JUCO, it provides an opportunity for kids to mature, to grow, to get better. When I came out of high school, I was a high school program 6'3", but I was really maybe 6 foot, right? 175 pounds. By the time I finished Cal, I was legit 6'2" and 7/8 at the NFL Combine, and I was 210 pounds. Right. I grew, I matured, I learned. It took me 5 years to get to that point. A lot of kids don't come out of high school fully developed, right? They're still growing. I grew till I was 24. And so you need that time to mature and to grow. And so I would say if you love it, and again, this is you talked about it, Q. This is a game of gladiators. So you gotta love it. You gotta love it.
You do.
But if you love it, then pursue it.
Yeah.
Go after it. Keep playing at the JUCO level. Find a good JC, good coaching that supports their program. Big one. Find a good JUCO that supports their program.
Yeah.
Right. A lot of these teams have schools, or they have teams, but they don't support it like they should. Find one that supports the program and keep competing, grow, get better, work on your body, work on your mental game, work on your psychology, work on all that stuff, and keep playing, because those are not going to count against you now. So it's just like going to a finishing school nowadays.
Right.
You go to a JC.
Right.
So it allows you to grow up, get more experience against better competition, and you can actually see if you have the tools to get to that next level. Right now, again, college football is broken. I talk to coaches at every different level all the time. High school kids are getting screwed coming out because transfer portal, it's just not the same as it was. So transfer portal, the D1 schools are saying, well, I'll just pick that kid up because he's already learned how to be a college student. Yeah. And so they bring him in. And then the FCS schools are also getting transfer kids from D2 and D3, like, that have proven themselves. So they're older, more mature. And so it's just hard for a high school kid, unless he's that blue chip standout dude right there, 5-star. It's hard for those other kids to kind of make an impression, to get in that room. And so I just say, if you love it, keep playing it, go to the JC, show that you can compete against competition, better competition, and refine your game. Keep working on your game. You are always growing. It's one of the tenets in my book. You are always training, always. So if you are training to be your best, if you are working your nervous system and working your body and learning new skills and doing all that to become the best that you can be, you're training yourself to adapt, to overcome, to improve. But if you're not doing the work, if you're sitting around playing video games, right? if you're eating Cheetos instead of eating right, you're also training. Yeah. And you're training yourself to fail. Yeah. And so no matter what you are doing in life, people want to tell you there's an easy way and there's life hack bullshit. You got to train. You have to do what's right for your body, your brain, your psychology, your team, if you want to keep improving, keep growing in life. But you can do it. Every human being on earth is capable of incredible adaptations. Incredible. Train yourself. Know how to train yourself. Go after it. Form good habits. Become better.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And if I can piggyback off of that, as far as what you were saying in regards to the JUCO route, man, a lot of parents that don't really understand the opportunities that can manifest after JUCO, because you see that they're sharpening their skills and maturing. If you don't know, go back and look up through the 90s what the hell Bill Schneider did with K-State. He built that program off of JUCOs and was in a national championship hunt every damn year off of JUCO. I promise you. So don't ever turn your nose up. There are kids that are great kids, that are great players, that are either getting overlooked, what you would call a diamond in the rough. But when they get an opportunity, you will find some pure killers in JUCO. And we've had so many guys come on that are former NFL players that have ran the gauntlet through JUCO, and they will tell you firsthand that they would not have developed into what they ended up being had they not gone that route.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, that was a good picture right there, right? Aaron Rodgers, Butte College. Like there's some dudes who played, JC
Killers.
ball now.
Yeah.
That dude,
Killers.
and the funniest story that people don't get, Aaron's a Cal guy. I love Aaron. He was there. I covered him. I called his games. He's a good dude, and he was a hell of a college quarterback. They didn't go there to go see Aaron. They went there to go see Garrett Cross, the tight end. And Jeff saw the film. He's like,
right.
"Who's this dude? Who's this dude?" And it's Aaron Rodgers, right? Arguably the greatest thrower of a football of all times. Period.
Yeah. No, that's a great point, you guys. And some of you athletes that are listening, because we work with you guys. Some it may come 2 weeks from now. It may come a month from now. It may come after a junior college season. It may come from you going D2 and then moving up. But like Mike said, keep playing, keep getting after it, have a healthy chip on your shoulder, and yours is coming. These are two guys, definitely Aaron Rodgers, and if Josh Allen keeps trending the way he is, that are going to be Hall of Famers. But they didn't have a red carpet journey, you guys. So if they didn't, then that means that you may have to find a great strategy that works for you too. Okay, so hopefully you guys listen to Mike, keep playing, keep getting after it. And now it comes with a bag, you quarterbacks. It comes with a bag once you do get to that level, so you can wait a little while and develop. We are on to our next topic, you guys, and we are ripping and running through the show. This is a fan favorite portion of the show, and this is the lightning round, you guys, the lightning round. And we are of word association. Okay, so if you're joining us for the first time, Mike has 60 seconds to get through my gauntlet, my list of questions.
I'm going to hydrate because you guys are bringing it tonight. All right.
There you go, Mike. Get ready, baby. And we know he's done the 2-minute drill with success. We're going to see how he does the lightning round. So, Mike, we've got some either or with some people. We've got some, what do you like best? So be ready to be asked anything. Keep your mind open with this. And you've got 60 seconds. So let me get my stop.
Mike, this that 80-yard drive I was just telling you about.
Get my stretch on. I need some cognitive agility here. Here we go.
All right, so we have the great Mike Pawlawski. He's at 0. I'll never cheat, a Cal Bear, and he's got 60 seconds, you guys, to get through our list. Now, he's going to give us the first thing that comes to his mind, unfiltered, fraternity thoughts maybe flowing through his mind from back in the day. We don't know, but we're about to find out. So we're ready to go, Mike. You ready?
Let's rock it.
All right. Number one, first thing that comes to your mind. Also, we don't just do this for fun, Mike. There is a dinner attached to this. So if you can get to 12 or higher in 60 seconds, you got a dinner on the locker room.
Yeah.
12 or higher. Like, I just have to answer 12 of these?
Yeah. Yep. You just have to say
you might as well give me that certificate right now. Here we go.
All right.
There we go, baby.
All right.
See, that's the QB you need. That's what I'm talking about, that leadership.
There you go. All right. First one. Number one. First thing that comes to Mike Pawlawski's mind. Number one. Troy High School. Go.
Warriors. That's home
Steve
right there, boy.
Mariucci.
That's where it all started.
Steve Mariucci.
Mooch. Yeah, he was my recruiting dude.
Asparagus or broccoli?
Oh, definitely asparagus.
Best player you ever played against?
Steve Entman, University of Washington.
The Stanford Cardinal.
Worst band ever. Sorry, I know I'm supposed to be one word, but even their fans hate their band.
Russell White.
Most talented athlete I've ever seen on a football field outside of Deion Sanders.
Cancun or Hawaii?
Oh, Cancun for sure. Yeah, better fishing.
46 seconds. Barbecue ribs or barbecue brisket?
Ooh, tough one. I'm going to go brisket.
Favorite football movie? 57 seconds.
That's tough.
I'm going to say Longest Yard.
That's tough.
We'll give it to him. We'll give it to him.
That's tough. Hell, he got me on that one. I'm like,
Yeah.
damn.
And a couple more for the road. A couple more for the road. Justin Wilcox.
He is a high character human being. Now we need some more wins.
Last question for the road. Chiefs or Eagles?
Oh, Patrick Mahomes. I mean, it's hard to vote against Mahomes. He is a dude. He brings that whole talk about it in the book. He co-regulates that team. And so Patrick Mahomes is a hard one to bet against.
I love it. I love it. All right, you guys.
Agreed.
So that is the end of the lightning round. We are going to add them up. And then, like you guys know, he needs 12 to at least tie. We give one for tech delay. So even 11 puts Mike in the mix. So let's talk about it. Number 1 is Troy High School, the Warriors. That's his old high school. Number 2, the person that recruited him, Mooch. I know the Cowbears are thankful for that. That's number 2. Number 3, asparagus or broccoli. Mike says, give me the asparagus. Number 4, best player you ever played against. This always stumps people. He says, the Washington Huskies. Steve Ittman went on to the Colts. Great player. Number 5, the Stanford Cardinal, who you know are the rival to the Golden Bears. He says, worst band ever in history. Number 6, the great Russell White, who was his running back when he was at Cal. He says, most talented athlete he's ever seen on a football field, excluding Deion Sanders. Let's pause there. Definitely saw you and Russell do your thing on Strawberry Canyon, but best athlete ever, he was that deep, huh?
I tell people all the time, if Russ wanted to play quarterback, I would not have seen the field. Like, he could do anything. He could do it all. He was so gifted, incredibly fast, so smooth. I just saw him recently at the bowl game. I absolutely love Russell White. That's Anthony Wallace right there, number 6. But Russ was an absolute dude and a crazy gifted athlete, just unbelievably gifted.
One of those freaks.
Wow.
Man.
Yeah, he was a genetic freak.
Yeah.
I knew he was a baller, but I didn't know he was that great of an athlete. So
like Juwan.
Russell White. Juwan. Russell White at 7. Number 8, you guys. He says Cancun over Hawaii. Number 9, he's going barbecue ribs or brisket. He says, give me the brisket at number 9. And number 10, favorite football movie of all time, and he says The Longest Yard. So with the tech delay, he's got 11, very close for the great Mike Pawlawski.
I should have kept it to one word. See, I was trying to answer every question. Damn it.
That's good. So, no, we appreciate it, baby. And we are on to Big Ruck says he loves the program. That's
good one, too. That didn't even come to mind.
Yeah, so we are on, you guys, to our last question, and we're having a great time with the great Golden Bear, Mike Pawlawski. You guys, if you're with us live, the comment section is open. So if you have a question for Mike, feel free to put it in the comment section now. But Q, I know you got a great question for Mike.
Absolutely. So Mike, do us a favor, right? Because not only are you a great player, man, in your area you play with a bunch of great players against and on your team. But man, do us a favor, walk us through all these, some of the players that you saw that were like some of the most electrifying players of our era. Marshawn, Aaron Rodgers, Deshaun Jackson. Walk us through when you saw these guys emerge, and it's like, damn, this kid is freaking special. This kid is that lightning bolt in a bottle.
Yeah, there were several of them, right? Kyle Bowler was amazing at Cal. He came in, they called him Jesus in cleats, right? He was so good. Deltha O'Neal. I remember the headline when Cal beat Stanford. It said Stanford 13, Deltha O'Neal 28 or something like that. He returned kicks. He was doing everything. He was unbelievable. Yeah. He reminded me of Russ. He didn't have Russ's top end speed, but he was that kind of special athlete. He was pretty amazing. Yeah. So he was great. Marshawn Lynch was obviously the whole package. The first time you saw him, he was unbelievable. The guy who doesn't get enough love in that department is Jabed Best. He's maybe the twitchiest dude I've ever seen in my entire life. He would just go it was like the Roadrunner taking off. Like he was so fast. It was unbelievable. And so all those dudes, right? And then back in my days, Russ, Sean Dawkins, Brian Triggs, there were some dudes back then.
Yeah.
And think about the incredible offensive linemen, right? Alex Mack, really good friend of mine, just got elected into the College Football Hall of Fame.
Yeah, about to say, this a
dude,
little
two-time All-American, Drady Award winner, just dominant on the football field, moves like a cat. He was the highest paid center in the history of the league when he signed that $10 million contract. And so just a dude that Cal had great offensive linemen, defensive linemen. Like they just had some. Andre Carter came through there. Give me these lists of all these dudes that keep coming through, right? Jared Willard, when I played, was a beast at linebacker. And this year Teddy was just unbelievably good. Teddy Buchanan at linebacker was really good. Cade Uluave, boy, if he finishes the season next year, he is a holy terror. So there's some dudes now that can play and that have gone through Cal, and it doesn't get the love that it should get because you just go over and over and over. And I think the stat is we're like the number 2 all time of first round picks or quarterback first round pick or something like that. But we're right there with all the other schools in terms of first round picks. And we've had a lot of really talented dudes come through that.
Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing right there. Definitely. And
that's awesome,
he's called a lot of those games.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. So, Mike, we appreciate you coming on the Locker Room Show. Amazing time with you. I know the book. We definitely want to talk about the book and how people can get that in their hands. Did you want to give us a little background on the book?
Yeah, so I was talking about it. I tell a story. I actually grew up. I had cystic fibrosis when I was born. And so I grew up with severe lung disease. Almost died 3 times when I was a kid. And they actually told my parents, if he makes it through the night, he's going to be okay. And so I tell the story about that and then overcoming that because sports actually helped me learn how to breathe. And my parents put me in it. They pushed me through it. My dad was 82nd Airborne. There's a lot of toughness in that man, but he was also a ton of love. He was voted Citizen of the Year in our hometown twice. Okay. So he's an amazing dude, tough, but loving tough. And he would tell me, just rub some dirt on it, get back in the game. When it hurt to breathe, just rub some dirt on it, get back in the game. And I did. And so it's about overcoming. And it's about, I had a real insight into how our nervous system modulates our behavior. Right. And so you can literally change on a dime by the way you frame things, by the stories that you tell yourself. And it literally changes your physiology. I go deep into it in the book. But you can get it on Amazon. It's super easy. I go deep into it. And if you like my stories here tonight, this book is loaded with fantastic stories, football stories and outdoor stories. Chapter 3 starts with me face-to-face with a grizzly bear in Alaska. So if you want to read great stories, the audiobook's about to come out this week or next week. So just getting finished this week. But if you want to read some great stories, like I had Urban Meyer call me up. I sent him a book and he's texting me while he's on the plane. He's like, I'm reading this book. I almost fell out of my seat. I can't believe this. Like, we have to do something with this book. He's like, your grizzly bear story took my breath away. And so I love telling stories. You guys may have noticed that tonight. I love telling stories. And this book is stories, but it's powerful, powerful information. If people want, they can, I give away actually, because I want people to win. I don't care. I'm a coach. I love watching people improve. And so if you text the word great to 55444, I will literally send you free a checklist on how to develop mental toughness, like a pregame checklist for mental toughness. I will send you a free checklist on how to develop an identity that helps you win, right? Planning is something that we all miss out on. Athletes plan on coach or let coaches plan. Plan for yourself. Become the player that you can become. So I'll send you that as well. And then I will send you a checklist on how to make a decision that changes everything for you. Once you make a decision and you commit to the path, commit to something, your nervous system will literally rally and adapt to support that commitment. Once you're involved, your body will adapt to make that happen. I saw it happen with my lung disease. I see it happen with people I coach all the time. We don't give ourselves enough credit. The human animal is the most adaptive animal on the planet. We live at 15,000 feet. We live beneath the sea. We live in the desert. We live in the Arctic. We can adapt to anything as long as we train for it. And so the book will tell you how. Just text GREAT to 55444. I'll send you all that free stuff, and I send out daily reminders of how we should have our mindset for that day.
That's awesome.
Wow, right there, you guys. So there you have it. Text
definitely
GREAT
put that in the
to
chat.
55444. You guys, that's a play. He just gave you a play.
Literally.
You're going to get tossed out the game if you don't run Mike's play. So get your copy, you guys. Mike, that sounds amazing. The book, I mean, of course, the Golden Bear great will be face-to-face with a California Bear. So we definitely have to hear that story, and we truly, truly appreciate you coming on the show tonight. How else can people reach out to you? Are you on Twitter, Instagram? How can we get to you?
Yeah, I'm everywhere. I'm out there. The best way is literally just text GREAT to 55444. I will literally send you emails with mindset tips every single day.
Perfect.
You get everything you want. That's the easiest way, but you can find me on all the social media platforms. Dude, I cannot tell you how much fun this was tonight. This was awesome.
Oh, wow.
I love this. And I really appreciate you guys letting me talk to your audience. I know how much you guys care about your audience. I know how much, you put into this and how much it takes to bring this to your audience. So I appreciate you guys. You just make this fun. You make it enjoyable. People at home, I hope they loved it tonight, but I just had a great time. So thank you guys very much for having me on.
Absolutely, Mike. Well, you got to think, man, we got to bring guys like you on, man, because we have to show these kids what's possible.
Yeah, for sure. There's so much, there's so much in the tank that we don't get to. And people are telling you these days that, you don't have to do it too hard and things should be easy. And they go for comfort, right? Comfort is the enemy of greatness.
Mm-hmm.
You get comfortable once you have the tools and the abilities to handle anything.
Right.
But you will never be comfortable unless you train yourself how to handle life.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. So stop looking for comfort and go for greatness. You got it right there from Mike. We got the great Pawlawski, and his son plays up at Cal. So thank you for joining us. And then Big Ruck says bring him back soon.
Oh, for sure.
He's a show regular. So we definitely will. So Mike, thank you again. Go Bears, and we'll see you soon, buddy.
I love it. Thank you, guys. Thank you very much.
All right. So, hey, you guys, that is the great Mike Pawlawski. Q, I grew up, man, watching him spin it, dude. Like he said, Russell, Damian Simeon, I'm a Reardon alum, Damian Simeon, Brent Jones. But, dude, they were good, man. Cal was good. 10-2, I think, his senior year. And Pac-10 Co-Offensive Player of the Year. So, they were doing their thing, man.
Oh, definitely, man. Definitely. Like I said, man, but that's what we do, man, to bring guys like that on, man. Man, just to give these parents and these kids, man, the sauce, man. You got to hear stories like that, man, because, again, as I just said, you have to hear and see, man, what's possible, but this is it's like he said, it's going to always boil down a lot of times to determination and mindset. That's a large part of the battle, the majority of it. So,
man, if I was looking for a CEO, man, I'm looking for a quarterback.
100%.
Someone to rally the troops at the job. So you guys make sure you guys go cop that book. I mean, he said, "Hey, I'm gonna give it to you for free and reach out to you and send you some motivational information and content." So that's a no-brainer, you guys. Hopefully our athletes take Mike up on that offer, you guys. So, hey, this is how we do it. When you rock with the Locker Room Show, we bring in the best of the best. We're getting ready for the Super Bowl. A lot of people are down at the Super Bowl. We're going to be bringing the show down there 1 year soon.
We're going to have to.
So talk to me, man, before I let you go. Who you got? You rocking with Mike and the Chiefs, or you thinking the Eagles gonna steal one?
Yeah, I tell you what, the Eagles got a chance, man. I mean, I'm partial, man. I'm partial, man.
Maybe player for player, the better team.
Well, no, they might be. It's kind of like this, I've been telling a lot of people, if I'm Philadelphia, I'm looking at it like this. I have arguably one of the greatest running backs of this era. I'm going to ride him off into the sunset like Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. He's going to get about 30 carries, 35 carries tonight because within playing like that,
30 kids.
we don't have to worry about. Well, yeah, we don't have to worry about Mahomes and Kelsey because they're not even going to be on the field. They're not even going to be on the field. We're going to eat up enough clock to minimize their possessions, because you got to think, when you got a guy like Mahomes, the only way to beat him is to minimize his possessions. Otherwise, he's going to beat you every time, because they own this stage. They own it.
Yeah.
They've been here so much. They own it. So you have to, that's the only way to keep them at bay. The only way.
So are they the first to go three-peat or not?
They got a chance to do it. They got a damn good chance. But like I said, if you can keep them off the field and keep their possessions to a minimum, then Philadelphia's got a shot. And with Saquon, they got a shot with that. They got a legitimate shot.
Let me ask you this. The Chiefs win, and Mahomes is unstoppable. Is he already the greatest quarterback of all time?
I know we've been discussing this for a while. You got him, put him with a three-peat, and how he's still so young.
And he's never lost the Super Bowl.
You have to put him in that argument. You have to. You won't have a choice then. Whether you want to or not, you have to then. With the three-peat.
Well, he's already in the argument for a lot of people. I'm saying, is it a done deal? Is there an argument?
I would have to.
Because what is that? 4 and 5 years, 4 and 6 years?
Yeah. I mean, but it's kind of like, it's hard to put him in front of Brady. That's tough, man. That's hard to say, because it's hard to put him in front of Brady, but it's like he's done it he's been consecutive in that small a time, because he's still so young. It's not like he's 35. He's still young.
Yeah.
Because so you look at it like, even with a three-peat, how many more can they get still? He's still got a ton of gas.
Yeah, I'm just saying, if he's never lost one, he's got 4. He's still late 20s, and he's the first to three-peat. Do you just crown him? If he's doing,
man, Coach, you damn near have to. Yeah, you damn near have to. You damn near have to.
His only Super Bowl loss is to Brady. Okay, he did lose. Yeah. Did he lose one? I didn't think.
No, he did. Yeah, he lost one to Brady.
Okay.
That was no. Jimmy's right. That was his only one.
Jimmy says 40 touches for Saquon.
Hey, I'm telling you. That's the only way you're gonna beat him. The only way to beat Mahomes is for him not to be on the field. If he's on the field, he's gonna beat you. There's no way around it. There's no way around it, dude. That dude finds a way to win.
So we will know by this time next week on the next Locker Room Show who is the greatest NFL team in the world. The world champions will be crowned this Sunday. You guys have an amazing weekend. Do not party too hard. We need you back on the Locker Room Show next week. And once again, if you haven't already, baby, please make sure that you like, subscribe, and share. Amazing show tonight with Big Mike Pawlawski, Bay Area great, Cal Bear great. Also, if you are a young athlete, we talked about signing period. If you are a young athlete, class of 2025, 2026, and you're looking for some college football recruiting support, then check out Before You Go Pro. We would love to help you, support you. We've got a ton of resources that speak specifically to young footballers like yourself. And then also some of you guys are diving into the NIL game, and NILLLC.org is the place for you. Get your resources, make sure you get your LLC, make sure you start your student athlete business, baby. So, hey, Q, anything for the good people before we get out of here, baby?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, at least for you high school guys, man, about to start heading into track season, or those of you to play baseball, man, so it's getting around that time, man, but it doesn't stop. So whether you're doing that and playing another sport or not, spring ball is going to be starting before you know it, as far as your college guys. So, man, get back to work. We're past the bowl games, and it's right back to work. I promise you, it's February. Before you look up, it'll be a couple of days out before your first game next year. Just like that.
Yes, indeed.
Because
And
the summer's going to be a blur.
For some of you guys, it's showtime. It's either a free agent year where you a high school junior, now you're a senior and you're trying to make your money, or maybe you're a freshman in college trying to show out and show that you deserve to be on the team. So don't play around, like you said. Off season goes like that, baby. So, hey, come back next week. We got another amazing guest for you. I already know who it's going to be. We're going to see you at the top. You guys have a good one.